KREM 2 News begins now.
It's been a busy week for news across the Inland Northwest. Let's get you caught up with the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus. Here now is a look at some of the biggest stories from this past week.
It had been rumored for almost a decade that Gonzaga would eventually leave the West Coast Conference for a bigger conference, and that day has finally come. After 45 years in the WCC, Gonzaga is joining the new-look Pac-12 Conference in all of their sports on July 1st, 2026. This was a deal that came about very quickly, as Gonzaga president Thane McCullough says he heard from a Pac-12 member school of the interest only a week ago. McCullough and athletic director Chris Standiford both lauded the regionality of the new Pac-12 and maintained a high level of care for the well-being of Zag student athletes in realignment discussions.
The question time and time again is, what is the impact going to be on the student athlete experience? And I mean that both in terms of athletic opportunity, but also academic opportunity. And I feel that the members of the Pac-12 are really sensitive to that same issue. And as the Pac-12 considers its membership, and clearly the center of gravity remains in the West, that creates some wonderful opportunities for a continuation of our real care and support for our student athletes, consideration for travel and the impact on their schedules, and yet at the same time opens up some fabulous new opportunities for competitiveness. So that is very much a factor in our consideration and has been since the beginning.
The other big selling point is the revenue share that GU will receive from the Pac-12. Standiford did not reveal particulars, but says the school is happy with the package received and is happy to now have a seat at the Pac-12 table.
Yes, this is a better situation for us financially, without question. It is an opportunity for us to invest more directly in our student athletes and create a more robust experience for them, and potentially for more of them. We're really excited about the terms we agreed to. We feel like they are in a space of true partnership and represent the quality and the value that Gonzaga believes that we bring to the proposition.
The Pac-12 must still add another school with a football program to be officially recognized as a conference. Those negotiations are ongoing, but truly a momentous day today at GU.
Well, guys, think back to August of 2023. That's when we learned that Washington and Oregon were exiting the Pac-12, signaling a mass exodus that led to some legal battles. In September 2023, Washington State and Oregon State universities stood as the sole members of a crumbling conference after 10 other Pac-12 schools announced their departures at the end of the season. WSU and OSU filed a lawsuit against the conference and its commissioner. Both schools argued they should be the only ones on the governing board making decisions for the conference.
Members who announce they're leaving the conference and joining competitors can no longer participate on the board or make decisions.
On September 11th, Whitman County Judge Gary Leiby granted a temporary restraining order barring meetings with all 12 schools until he could rule on the original lawsuit.
This court finds in favor that the plaintiffs have.
In November, after a full day of arguments in Colfax, Judge Leiby ruled in favor of WSU and OSU, finding they'd be the only members of the governing board. The state Supreme Court later declined to review that ruling.
We still got to work on what our football schedule looks like and what our conference partnership or alignment may look like.
2 days after the ruling, WSU and OSU announced a scheduling agreement with the Mountain West Conference for the 2024 football season. The renaissance of the Pac-12 makes history in February 2024. Teresa Gould takes over as commissioner after the mutual parting of ways with former commissioner George Kliavkoff. Gould's the first female to lead a Power 5 conference. September 12th, about a year after its legal fight and win, the new conference added 4 teams from the Mountain West: Fresno State, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State.
I'm so happy, I'm so proud for our fan base, our alumni, our donors.
Days later, Utah State became the 7th member of the growing conference. Rumors of the Zags' potential move also began around that time. Now that doesn't signal the end of the legal battles for this budding conference. Right now the Pac-12 is suing the Mountain West Conference over its poaching fees for taking those 4 teams. And right now those teams and the Pac-12 could be on the hook for about $110 million total in penalties and fees. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
It's official. Gonzaga University is joining the Pac-12 conference. Today we are in the heart of the WSU Pullman campus, here to find out what everyone thinks. So let's take a listen.
Do they have football?
I'm excited for the more competition, but I know we're going to beat Zaga anyways. Go Cougs.
I'm very anti-Zag, very anti-Zag.
I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be a great rivalry. Just not very far away. I think it'll be awesome. I'm excited.
I'm a big Coug fan. I'm excited to have Mark Few come out to Pullman once or twice a year and get smacked by the Cougs.
I think that is a crazy surprise of the day. And I mean, we beat one dog this season. We can beat the other dogs this season, right? Easy, go Cougs!
Having Gonzaga join the Pac-8 now is kind of exciting, Pac-12, and I'm excited to have them.
Okay, so we've heard what students have to say. Now let's find out what WSU's basketball coaches think. We're going to head over to Bowler.
I think it's exciting. You know, the rivalry between Gonzaga, Washington State, just being in the area is incredible. For me personally, I've grown up watching the Zags. They've done an incredible job.
Gonzaga is a prestigious program, especially basketball-wise. You know, the school is prestigious. You know, the Pac-12 is a prestigious conference. So, I mean, it's great that they're joining.
I think it's a great move for the league. I think it's great for us in a regional rivalry. So excited about them being with us.
Overall, the response seems like a mix of excitement as fans look forward to a potentially new rivalry within the Pac-12 conference. Reporting in Pullman, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Weekend Review. I'm Tim Pham. Let's get back now to some of the biggest news stories from the Inland Northwest this past week.
We're learning about a horrific attack that took place in an Ephrata neighborhood. Now, the Grant County Sheriff Office tells us Tuesday morning at about 7 a.m., a 67-year-old woman went on a walk in her Ephrata neighborhood. This is a routine walk with her Labrador. However, she was faced with a surprise attack. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says shortly afterward, the two were attacked by a group of 6 pit bulls. The dogs reportedly came from a neighborhood home, and authorities say they dragged her to the ground and bit her all over her body. The victim's dog reportedly was able to get away from the 6 dogs. Her neighbor, according to the sheriff's office, ran her to rescue, getting her to safety and calling 911.
Clearly she tried to defend herself from the attack by 6 dogs, but they overpowered her, and thank goodness the neighbor was home and was able to go out and help stop the attack from happening.
Authorities then told us the woman was first transported to Columbia Basin Hospital, and then she was taken to a facility of Spokane. We are not sure which facility in Spokane at this time, but it was confirmed by the sheriff that she was released to go back home this morning. We're told from neighbors in the area that the property has a hole in the fence, allowing the dogs to come out whenever, leaving neighbors wary and avoidant of that part of their street.
I had a brief discussion with the owners yesterday. They were very concerned. They were apologetic for what had happened, and they volunteered the dogs to be taken into custody, and they understand that the dogs will be euthanized.
The Grant County Sheriff's Office told us that the owners of the dogs are going to have to pay an infraction for each dog. That is 6 pit bulls altogether, which is going to cost up to about $6,000. We are right here in Ephrata. Regan Gallo with KREM 2 News.
The City of Spokane's hearing examiner gave developers the okay to build 425 homes right here on this site in Latah Valley. The future Marshall Creek Estates is about 121 acres and located west of Highway 195. Down Cheney Spokane Road, things are on the quieter side, with the exception of a few home projects Leland Smith is working on.
A little shed for the hay.
It's hay for his goat and family of sheep.
I think the mom's pregnant now, so we might have another baby lamb.
But this little family isn't the only thing growing in Latah Valley. Plans are moving forward to build 425 homes just down the road, adding hundreds of new neighbors to the area.
I'm afraid when that development comes in, it's going to really change.
The Spokane hearing examiner's approval of the Marshall Creek Estates comes during the city's one-year moratorium for any new projects in the Latah Valley area. This went into effect last spring, but the moratorium excludes applications already submitted, which is the case with this project. Applications and fees were completed in 2020. Still, the development is approved with conditions. They include requiring the developer to build a roundabout on Cheney-Spokane Road, an improvement Leland welcomes.
I think it's needed because right now I know when we had traffic coming through from the closure of I-90, it was backed up all the way to my driveway. It's like a mile back.
A WashDOT traffic study says the project is expected to add 72 trips each morning and 33 trips each evening to the I-90 on-ramp from Highway 195. Developers are now required to pay for improvements to that area.
I think it's too much development for out here.
While Leland prefers the peace and quiet here, he's hoping the changes that continue to come to Latah Valley won't take too much of that quiet away.
It's just something that I've kind of adapted to and have been just going along with it the best I can.
Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Avista Utilities customers on Sunday morning either received a phone call or they got a social media post that claimed there was going to be a public safety power outage later in the day. This then led customers without power starting at 2 p.m. all the way without until 10 and 11 p.m. Avista claimed in its messaging this was to mitigate fire risk as high winds were expected. However, some customers felt the power outage was not needed. Robert Archer was one of those from North Indian Trail.
I just don't feel like the communication was very solid when we get two automatic things and on their website it says just please be patient. And I look around and there wasn't a cloud in the sky and it was not that windy and my power was off.
Avista told us this precaution was part of its wildfire resiliency program that was implemented in 2020. But the decision to use planned outages was announced earlier this year. Advanced modeling software identified a circuit that had critical risk.
There was one circuit that we identified had critical risk, and that was the circuit that we implemented Avista's first ever public safety power shutoff, which is a proactive de-energization of a circuit due to very extreme conditions. We do not take public safety power shutoffs lightly. We understand the critical nature of the service we're providing our communities. And
for customers wondering why the shutoff was so sudden and why they were not given earlier notice, Avista says when weather conditions change rapidly, they must react cautiously, especially when fire risk is high. Only certain areas experienced the outage because one circuit was in critical risk. So Avista encourages that people keep their cell phone numbers with their account up to date as soon as possible, so when this happens again, the company can ensure that they can give a heads-up notice. I'm right here in North Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Right behind me is Sage Point Elementary, which is where the first of 4 community meetings took place. Now, the issues that the Moses Lake School District has been dealing with aren't exactly new. We have actually been reporting on them for months, but a recent post the district made sparked more people to join the conversation.
Trust in our community at large has been broken.
Now, the Moses Lake School District hopes to get some trust back by doing what they do best, teach. The school district hosted the first of 4 community meetings on Tuesday night, led by Interim Superintendent Carol Lewis.
The public came to learn a little bit about how school districts are financed and then learn what went wrong in Moses Lake School District with our finances.
The issues started with a double levy failure last spring. Then the district started looking into their finances, where they found roughly $12 million in accounting errors. In total,
our district suffered a $20 million loss of revenue with all of that combined.
The shortfall led to the layoff of more than 200 district workers. One hot topic that came up at the meeting, the district's bus driver shortage and the possibility of canceled bus routes as a result.
The result of this?
No, that's not. We have in that budget that we filled.
According to Lewis, it's logical for people to think the budget shortfall and bus driver shortage are related.
But the reality is we have enough money to pay the drivers and to fuel the buses and run all of those routes. We don't have enough substitute bus drivers.
The Moses Lake School District spent the last several months climbing their way out of the financial hole. Lewis estimates it'll take about 4 years for the district to get back to where it needs to be financially. For now, they'll start by building trust here.
I hope people will have a clear understanding of the truth about what happened, and I hope that they'll be able to answer their questions so that they can feel comfortable in regaining a little bit of trust with the school district.
Now, there are still 3 community meetings left that people can check out to learn more about the Moses Lake School District's financial issues. You can find out more information about them on our website, KREM.com. In Moses Lake, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
It's very easy to get involved. That's why we love Treats to Troops. It's so simple. Basically, we collect items over the next couple of weeks, and then we take those items and we put them in packages and we send them all over the world. We just want to make sure, the mission is to make sure that everyone deployed overseas from Fairchild Air Force Base gets a little bit of love from the Inland Northwest. So this season, we need your help. Let's take a look at the top 10 list. We work closely with folks at Fairchild Air Force Base, the spouses group, to make sure that the folks that are getting the gifts are getting something they can use. So #1 item they love, homemade cards. Everybody loves getting a letter or a homemade card. Great activity to do with the kids. Then we have things that are more very simple to purchase and pick up. Single serving drink mixes, jerky and seeds, instant oatmeal. That was a fairly new one, I think. I don't know if I've had that one before. Even things like laundry pods. Nothing smells better than mom's laundry, right? So if you can have some laundry pods, there you go. All right, so once we get the treats all packaged up, you can make your deliveries all month long at area Washington Trust Bank branches. We take them and we put them all together, and there we go. You're seeing it right now. We package them in these boxes, and then we work with the group at Fairchild to actually get the addresses of the men and women serving over there so people get individual packages, and then Washington Trust Bank pays to ship them all over the world. So let's take a look here back at the set. Couple of items. Our executive producer, Cody, said this morning, bring in what would be good to put in a box. What could people shop for? Super easy. If you're going to get the kids some granola bars, pick up an extra package or two. Anything that's prepackaged and mini and small that we can fit in. Things everybody likes their fruit snack. And if they don't, do we really want to know that?
No.
I don't know. We were talking about the oatmeal. They come, of course, like this, or little packets. And then these are super simple. Single serving drink mixes. This is a coffee. This is, I think, some sort of power drink. If you buy a box or two of these, we can take it apart, but each package gets a little something.
Those are super small, but they're so good.
They're
too.
amazing.
These are so good, and you can buy local coffees and do it that way if you want to send it. K-cups are good. However you can get it to Washington Trust Bank, they'll take it and we'll package it up.
Last year I went to Dollar Tree. I went to Dollar Tree and I just stocked up. I spent about $25 and dropped everything off, and I got tons of stuff.
And you can get things like there. You can get little handheld games that are fun, or your favorite, big package of gum, right? And it's pretty easy. And like you said, if you have the whole reason behind Treats to Troops, one of the things we launched it was not only to get it to men and women all over the world, but for everybody to be able to participate. Money's tight right now. No problem. Get some construction paper, give it to the kids, and tell them make some nice cards.
And
they love those cards.
It means so much to them. You think about they're sacrificing so much, and there's something about being away during the holidays that makes it even more difficult. So this really makes a big difference.
That's what the families tell us. It makes them feel good that knowing that their loved one's getting a special treat. So Treats to Troops happening now. Head to area Washington Trust Bank branches. Drop off your treats over the next couple of weeks. We'll make sure they get sent to all the men and women who are serving us. So let's take a moment and serve them. Also, you can text us the link TREATS to 509-448-2000. We'll send a link right to your phone.
So to give some background, pharmacy benefit managers are third-party companies. Their stated goal is to monitor and help patients with prescription drug benefits. However, they've been accused of inflating costs and taking funds away from both pharmacies and patients.
Come January 1st, the state of Idaho's new law will go into action, which supporters say will lower costs for customers and pharmacy businesses. The Federal Trade Commission came out with a report this summer stating that PBMs are manipulating markets. Late September, the FTC then announced they are suing Cigna's Express Scripts, CVS's Caremark, and United Health's Optum Rx for high insulin costs. On the local level, the state of Idaho is trying to combat this complex national issue.
One, create lower prescription costs for every Idahoan, as well as allow access to care and patient care. Most of these pharmacists were, again, losing money to dispense a drug or getting an average of 10 cents to dispense a drug.
Another goal of the law is rebates for customers.
Manufacturers will give a rebate for the amount of drugs that they produce. Our goal with this, we have a pass-through mechanism so that that rebate will go directly back to the patient rather than in the pocket of the PBM.
Representative Redmond also mentioned that when he first brought this bill to session, he received pushback from PBMs and insurance companies, with additional lobbyists traveling to Idaho from Washington, D.C. to put pressure on the governor to veto the bill.
But Rep. Redmond said Idaho lawmakers and Governor Little went through with the law, looking toward the goal of long-term sustainability by encouraging pharmacies to give patients more access to the care they need. Reporting right here in the studio, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
I'm here at the Spokane Arena, where I know it might look like a ghost town as of right now, but that won't be the case in 2027 when the NCAA returns. Now, the organization shared its more than 240 sites that they have chosen for their tournaments for the next few years, and Spokane is one of those that are listed. Now, it's right next to big cities like Louisville, Kentucky and Sacramento, California. Now, for those that don't know, this isn't the first time that Spokane has been chosen for this type of tournament. We hosted this very same competition back in March, and we were actually chosen to host back in 2020 before it was canceled due to the pandemic. The University of Idaho and the Spokane Arena will be hosting the men's basketball first and second rounds at the arena in 2027. Now, I had the chance to talk with the general manager of Mac Daddy's, Jesse James, and he tells me that he's excited for Spokane to be hosting this tournament once again.
It's going to be awesome. Like, we love the rushes and we love being filled with people, so that's always super nice.
Including the men's basketball sites, the NCAA says it got more than 1,200 bids from 47 different states to host 87 of the 90 championships across all of its sports. The organization says that all of these sites were chosen with final approval from the Divisional Competition Oversight and Championships Committee. Now, like we all said, this is happening in 2027 right here at the Spokane Arena. So if all of you men's basketball fans have to wait just a little bit longer before you can come out and enjoy the tournament. However, we do know that the women's basketball regional championship is actually going to be held here in 2025. So if you still love basketball, you can come out and enjoy that as well. We'll have all those ticket details once we get them from the organization. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus. For the KREM 2 News Weekend Review, remember, you can always watch our latest newscast and weather forecast right here on KREM 2 Plus. Just click on the video in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.